Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, plans halted to the A16 toll bar junction works in Grimsby, a new mental health unit in Hull, and exchange students in Grimsby again. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Zach Steels and Max Kerrigan on the Youth Parliament. Before that, anniversary celebrations for a Hull Community Centre with Delivon Francis and David Daniels. Controversial plans to upgrade the A16 toll bar junction in Grimsby have been put on hold. People have raised a number of issues on the £2 million proposals for the roundabout to be replaced with traffic lights. They claim it would make the junction more dangerous for school children. A spokesperson for North East Lincolnshire Council says the council will now examine all the feedback before any work proceeds. A petition with 2,000 signatures to save nearly 400 jobs at BAE in Brough has been handed into the House of Commons today. The Hull North MP Diana Johnson has handed in the petition urging the government to save jobs at the plant in East Yorkshire where parts of the Hawk training jet are made. That's the one used by the Red Arrows. The firm announced last month that redundancies were expected due to a national restructure. Lincolnshire's police chief has released his new strategic plan for the force. Bill Skelly says he has two broad goals for Lincolnshire Police: to provide a service that meets the expectations of communities and to support staff to feel healthy and valued. He says he also wants to empower and involve communities working to prevent and reduce harm. The new strategy outlines the force's commitment to support the Police and Crime Commissioner in the aims of the Police and Crime Plan. Exchange students from Königswinter in Germany have been experiencing school life in the UK. They've been working with students at St James's School in Grimsby for the past week. It's the first time in 15 years the school has worked with foreign students.
And there's no doubt in the week that we've had here at St James, the friendships that have been built and the learning about cultures and different nationalities has been incredible over the last week or so. We've had great experiences. We've been obviously spent a day in Cleethorpes. We've had a reception at the town hall with the mayor. Everyone in the community in the area has been fantastically supportive of this exchange. It's been a terrific experience for our pupils, and I hope for the pupils from Königswinter. So Königswinter, of course, is the twin town of Cleethorpes. And we haven't had an exchange between two schools, or a school in North East Lincolnshire and a school in Königswinter, I think, for many, many years.
Well, naturally, since some of them are quite young, they were a little bit excited and a little worried also when they came here. But I think right from the start, they felt that they really could get around. And everybody, of course, has been so helpful, and their exchange students and the staff here at St James, and also the parents, so that they really, after a few hours really already, they said, well, actually, we're getting along very good. Well, you know, we can understand them. You know, they notice if there's something they don't understand, and then they will speak a little slower. And therefore, I think it has been a fantastic experience because, you know, getting to know a different culture, not only in a different language, but also different ways of life is a very challenging thing, but it's a very, very fascinating, and I think, for my students, a very rewarding thing.
Well, I think it's been really enjoyable. I think our favourite part was probably going to Cleethorpes because we did bowling, laser tag, we went to fish and chip shop and everything. I think it was really fun.
Yeah, I think it was very great. Every day was very great because we've made difficult things. For example, we were in school or we were outside in Cleethorpes. Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah. I want to do it another time. It would be very great.
In what is, an unstable world at the moment, it is vitally important that young people develop friendships with people from different nationalities, understand about their cultures and learn from one another. And there is no doubt that what we've had here over the last week has been something incredibly special.
A new mental health unit is to open in Hull. Humber NHS Foundation Trust has secured a grant of £115,000 from England's health chiefs, which will create a safe space for young people in crisis in the city. They'll be referred by the existing 24-hour CAMS crisis service. The unit will be based at St Andrew's Place in George Street. The trust will start the 6-month pilot for 14 to 18-year-olds early next year. Humberside police are trying to trace two men in connection with two assaults and robberies in Grimsby. One victim was assaulted and threatened with a bottle by the men at the junction with Hainton Avenue and Patrick Street. They robbed him of money. The other victim was on his bike when the men approached along Hainton Avenue. He was threatened with a bottle and his bike was stolen. Both incidents happened around 6:30 a.m. on the 18th of November. Hull Trains are expecting services to be extremely busy this weekend. Delays will be due to track improvements in the Grantham area on the Hull to London King's Cross service. All services will have extended journey times as a result of the diversion, and some services will be standing room only. Throughout the last month, around 170 young people have been creating lanterns. They'll form part of the Illuminate North East Lincolnshire 2017 parades, which kick off on Thursday as part of Grimsby's Christmas Lights Switch On. While creating the lanterns, children have learnt about the Mayflower Pilgrims. The Mayflower was an English ship that carried Puritans from Plymouth to the New World in 1620. Immingham was her original port of departure. Paula Denton, director of Our Big Picture, says it's important that young people in the area are aware of the voyage.
So we were commissioned from North East Links Council and the Coastal Communities project that came through. We were one of the first commissions, and we were asked to produce the 3 parades. And it was around about looking at how the pilgrim families came to our area and how they were helped from the area to Holland. Immingham is a founding partner, which means it's one of the key places in this whole story. And as we come up to the 400th anniversary in 2020, this story is going to build and build. And that's one thing we found, is that children and adults alike really didn't understand our connection with the story, the Pilgrim family story, and how important it is for our region.
A community centre in Hull is about to celebrate its 30th anniversary next week. I'm joined now by Delivon Francis and David Daniels from the North Branston Community Centre to tell me about the celebrations. Welcome, both of you. Thanks very much for coming in.
Hello.
How, Delivon, are you going to celebrate this birthday?
Well, thanks for having us, really. We're really, really excited about the day. We're going to be having a display board with all the photos looking back over the last 30 years. We're going to be having a PowerPoint presentation that's looking at different things that have been happening at the centre in the past as well as the present, looking forward into the future. We've even got a singer coming. So,
Splendid.
Yes, there's lots of everything happening. And we've also got the Lord Mayor coming. Lord Mayor John Hewitt coming to actually open the proceedings.
It gives a bit of ceremonial solemnity, doesn't it?
Because what it was, the reason why we're having this event is because literally 30 years ago to the actual day, it was Harry Woodford who first opened the centre, and unfortunately he died in April of this year, so we won't be able to be there. But you know, we wanted to mark the 30 years that the centre's actually been in Branston.
And David, you were involved, I think, in the beginnings of the centre.
Yes, I've lived on the estate, on the North Branston estate, since virtually since it's been built. So I have seen the community centre thrive as a centre. It started off as a temporary unit, and then the actual new building was built. And as Delivon said, the late councillor Harry Woodford, 30 years to the day, opened, did the official opening of the centre, and I always recalls in my head to me some of the words what he used in his opening speech was that use it or lose it was Councillor Harry Woodford's message, and I think it has been well used in the past years. It's been used as a
It did have it's had ups and downs, hasn't it, Delivon? It's been reopened quite recently.
Before we came into the building, it was actually closed for 3 years. So we've been in the building just over a year now.
And you are the Phoenix Trust?
The Phoenix Charity.
Phoenix Charity.
We're really excited now because people are getting excited about the building again. It's a wonderful space. We've got a very large hall, a wonderful stage which we've used for our Branshome's Got Talent last April, that we're planning again to do another one in next year. You know, we're holding our Christmas fair, a fundraising Christmas fair.
When's that?
Actually, this Sunday. So if you're free and you're able to come along, please do come along, because we really need to fundraise now to actually get this building up to a really great standard. because we're just so excited now because people are coming in, they're using the building. You know, we've got dance classes, we've got our kids club, we've got lots happening now in the centre.
So what does it mean, David, as a resident of the Bransome, how important is the centre?
I think it's always been a hub of the community. As I said before, it has been well used. It's been a centre for hosting many meetings for the local residents association, the urban group. It's also been used by the Riverside Housing Association to promote their regeneration programme, and it became under a stock transfer with the local council. So yes, it's always been used as a swimming pool, which was actually built inside the centre.
That's extreme.
For the summer holidays for the children. It was well liked and well popular. It's also been used as a resource centre. When the floods in 2008 happened, it was used as
I must just get in quickly.
As an emergency
Plans for the
unit.
future?
Well, plans for the future, we want this centre to be here not just for another few years, but for the next 30. So in the next 30 years, we want to be celebrating once again. So we want people to come and use the building, to rent some of the rooms out in the building, to come and take part in some of the activities there. And if there's something that they'd like us to put on, just come and speak to us.
And it really is use it or lose it then, I guess.
Yes, just want
Both
to
of you,
continue that legacy.
happy birthday.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much
much,
for
Hugh.
having us.
Thank you.
Join me again after the break. Jack will bring us a roundup of the latest sporting action, and I'll be talking to Zach Steels and Max Kerrigan about the Youth Parliament. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Jack brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting news, and I'll be talking to Zach Steels and Max Kerrigan about the Youth Parliament. Secondary school students from Hull are to experience a day with the NHS. The event is run by East Riding Clinical Commissioning Group in a bid to boost recruitment for the next generation of NHS staff. 130 Year 8 students from 6 different schools are expected to take part. Students will step inside a simulated operating theatre and follow the rehabilitation of a complicated leg break. The event takes place at the Hull Royal Infirmary on Thursday and Friday. The organiser of a cultural initiative which turned Hull streets into an art gallery wants people to take part again next year. Seasonal art filled an East Hull community with colour as the first Window Wonderland took place. The area around Newbridge Road, Southcotes Lane and Rosemead Street was turned into an art gallery with 25 displays. It was organised by St John's Rosemead Street Church. Organiser Cathy Westby from Believe in Hull says she hopes the event can grow as it's such a simple idea. Leading musicians will come together for a major music event in Hull. Substance Live, the Future of the North, is one of the last big events for the City of Culture year. It'll feature Jane Weaver performing psychedelic dream pop, Hannah Peel performing her acclaimed Mary Cassio, and Nadine Shah's post-punk. It'll be at Hull City Hall, which will be transformed into an indoor festival with 2 stages and projections throughout. And that's on Saturday, the 9th of December. The Youth Parliament is designed to help young people to get a bit of practice with politics, I suppose, chaps. And I'm joined now by Zach Steels and Max Kerrigan to tell me all about their legislation. Welcome, gentlemen. Honourable members. Now, you've both been elected to the Youth Parliament, is that right?
Yes, we have.
Correct.
But only you, Max, went down to Westminster the other week.
Yeah, so I went down to Westminster last Friday. And yeah, when I was there, I did some discussions, I did some debates on what the young people voted in our poll. And then we decided on what should be our main campaign for the next year.
Well, and you actually got the practice, the experience of sitting on those famous green leather seats in the House of Commons, and the Youth Parliament did gather in the House of Commons.
Yeah.
And who was presiding? Who was the Speaker?
John Burkhardt.
So you got the real House of Commons Speaker looking after
Oh, yes, we did.
looking after you. So what were these... Oh, first of all, how are you elected? What's the election procedure?
Well, certain like regions do it differently, but the way North East Lincolnshire do it is we do it by teams of 2. And these teams of 2 have been gathered from schools or our local youth action here in Grimsby or places in Immingham. And we get put into our teams. We have a campaigning phase of what we want to do, what we are offering if we are elected and why we wanted to do it. and then it goes into a voting period, and people from all over the schools, when they can, are able to put a vote in, so one vote per person. And for people who can't, or for schools that weren't able to, the young people can go to Freshney Place when they voted in. So.
And who is enfranchised? Who can vote?
So anyone between the age of 11 and 18 in the whole of North East Lincolnshire. So that's whether you are from anywhere, so any of the schools as well. So we went out to all the schools, we went out to places like Ormiston, obviously the Academy Grimsby, Tolbar, even people from King Edward's as well. And
you two beat rival candidates, presumably?
Yes, there was originally about four groups, because we were originally set in 2 different groups, but our partners dropped out, and the last minute we joined together, and then there was about 3 people. Rough, dirty campaign?
It was a nice campaign, actually. We all sort of worked together, we all sort of helped each other out, but obviously, as Zach just said, about 4 days before the actual voting started, Zach's partner dropped out, and just 4 days into the actual campaigning, my partner dropped out, so we joined together. So it was really, really tough getting the votes.
You are a coalition.
Yeah, sort of coalition of different teams.
You mentioned that you also had a campaign to find out the issues that the young people in the area are most interested in. What came up? What were the issues?
Transport.
Yeah.
Mental health.
And what was it? Vote for 16.
Work experience.
Oh yeah, work experience. That's the one. Sorry about that. Yeah, work experience. Those were. Was it through Make Your Mark?
Yeah. So we have a thing called Make Your Mark, where we go out to all the schools again, like we did in the election earlier this year, and say, here are 10 main issues. Sorry, we want you to pick one. And then we'll have a top 3, and then nationally there'll also be a top 3, and we'll take them to House of Commons, we'll debate on them like I've just done, and we'll decide what are nationally the most important subjects. So this year it was vote for 16-year-olds and the curriculum to prepare us for life.
Well, you better just go into that. What's a curriculum for life?
Curriculum for life is, I don't know, it's really lessons for life, so they teach you the basic skills of getting ready for the adult life once you leave education, so such as banking, how to live independently, most of the things you will learn in your adult life, also towards, in certain cases, mental health, issues about LGBTQ, it will all come under that, because it is something that you will encounter.
How to survive, really.
Yeah, really, yeah, and how to fit into society.
What was the debate in the House of Commons when you were down there a couple of weeks ago? What was the issue debated then?
So, obviously, the top 5. So we debated on vote for 16, protecting LGBTQ+, and many other subjects such as transport, mental health, etc.
Let's just pick one of those. Votes at 16.
Yeah.
Are either of you over 16?
I am. I'm 16.
Yeah. Okay. What's the merit of votes at 16? Persuade me.
Well, so basically, there's a lot of people throughout all the time, throughout everywhere, who say 16-year-olds are too young to vote. There was people who said 18-year-olds are too young to vote. There were people who said people of different ethnic backgrounds are too young to vote, too different to vote, sorry. There were people who say women, they are too different to vote. But what I say to that is they were all wrong. Every single one of them, every single one, were all wrong. And I say, why not bring it to the future? If we are old enough to be parents, okay? I'm old enough. I'm
going to have to stop you there,
okay.
But it's like sitting in a room next to Martin Luther King here, isn't it?
Absolutely. Bit of a revolutionist yourself,
aren't you? Have wonderfully successful political careers. Thanks very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Here's Jack with all the sports.
We'll start with football, and Leonid Slutsky's Hull City face a massive game in the Championship tonight. The Tigers take on Millwall at the Den, with both teams struggling in recent weeks. Neither side has won in any of their last 4 league games, and so tonight's match presents City with a good chance to end that run. Hull midfielder Seb Larsson misses tonight's game through suspension, but striker Fraser Campbell is back and available for selection. In other team news, attacking midfielder Evandro could make his first appearance of the season for City. The Brazilian has suffered a long-term hamstring problem, but was named on the bench for the Ipswich game on Saturday. Meanwhile, Scunthorpe United will be looking to extend their recent good form as they face Bradford City at Valley Parade. The Iron find themselves in tremendous form at the moment, winning 4 games on the spin in League One. However, they will be in for a tough test this evening against a Bantam side, currently 1 place above them in 3rd place. Attacking duo Simon Church and Josh Morris look set to miss out through injury, although the latter will be assessed before the game. In League 2, Grimsby Town are back in action at Blundell Park tonight. The Mariners host Swindon Town this evening as they look to end a run of 4 league games without a win. Russell Slade will hope his side are more clinical in attack. They haven't scored in over 400 minutes of league football. The last time they found the net was in the 3-2 win away at Cheltenham Town on October the 17th. In team news, Town defender Paul Dicklin is expected to return to the starting lineup after suspension, and despite missing the game against Carlisle United on Saturday, midfielders Martin Wolford and James Berrett could feature in tonight's squad. Jamie Osborne should be among the subs tonight. Osborne made his first league appearance of the season from the bench against Carlisle after his comeback from injury. All 3 of tonight's games featuring our sides in the Football League kick off at 7:45. In Rugby League, new Hull Kingston Rovers signing Danny Maguire took part in his first session of pre-season training yesterday. Maguire is the Super League's all-time leading try scorer, and the 34-year-old said he is excited about committing to the cause at Craven Park. The former Leeds Rhinos skipper joined the Robins on a 2-year deal back in July. And finally, you'll be able to watch live sport on Estuary TV this weekend. We'll be bringing you live coverage of the Rugby Union match between Scarborough and Beverley in Yorkshire Division 1. Please note that coverage on Saturday begins at 1:30 and runs through till 4:15. That's all for the sport. Back to Hugh in the studio.
Thanks, Jack. That's it for tonight, I'm afraid. I'm just getting over the statesmanship that's gone on in the studio here today. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then please use Facebook or Twitter, email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472315553 as displayed below me. Or you can write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire. Until tomorrow, from all of us here, good evening.